Hi everyone, it's been a while. In this vlog you will see Vienna and Prague. Prague is a very special city to me because I've lived here for a couple of years, and Vienna is a very different, very elegant imperial city which me and my kids loved so much. So let's start this vlog from Prague. Here we are. This is one of the most beautiful European cities and very special because here actually my son AJ was born, and in this city I got married with my husband. So we will walk around the streets of Prague and it will be super cool. Our first day in Prague started in the evening. We arrived from Los Angeles. The difference in time is quite big, 9 hours. That's why we had a little nap. My husband said we need to wake up, go to have dinner so that we don't wake up at 3-4 a.m. in the morning, so we did it. So it's 9:30 p.m. and we decided to try sausage at the Oldtown square.
Do you guys want anything on top, like mustard or anything like that?
Может, кетчуп хотите или горчицу?
I'm gonna get mustard
All right.
on top of
All right, very good.
So as you can see, the sausage is actually pretty big, and you can get the sausage for $6-7. It's very common, and many people and many tourists taste it at this Oldtown square. Then we went to traditional souvenir store to buy the Prague hat because it was pretty cold, and I noticed that actually they still sell a lot of matryoshka and all kinds of matryoshka as a bottle opener, and you could even find the Soviet hats, which was very interesting. The next morning, the first full day, will start our walk through the Obecni Dum little courtyard, which I always liked. It has cafe, you can make a little walk here, it's very pretty. The weather this time was actually very cold. I don't know, the April somehow turned to be like cold everywhere. It was maybe around 10 degrees yesterday and around 0 during the night. This is how Prague looks on Sunday, 7:30 a.m. in the morning. We had like the first people in the center. This is one of the oldest towers, municipal house, and the famous theater. We decided to have our breakfast in this kavarna, the traditional coffee house, cafe in Obecni Dum. Somehow the lady said it's prohibited to do videos in this cafe, but I'll try to film the prices for you. So 200 kronas is around $10, and these are prices for some breakfast. If you didn't know, Czeck mole is a real symbol of Czech Republic, and it's very funny because in childhood I liked one of the books about mole. That was probably already the sign that I will live in Prague, get married in Prague, and even my kid will be born here. Since Czech Republic has now very unfriendly politics towards Russia, and we're actually a Russian-American family, I was very curious, so how Czechs are treating right now Russian-speaking like tourists and people. And actually, in spite of so many Ukrainian flags in the city, I heard a lot of Russian speech everywhere. Before the war, there were 40,000 Russians living in Czech Republic already and 200,000 Ukrainians. After the war, there were another 600,000 Ukrainians which moved to Czech Republic. But many of them actually also speak Russian, so it was hard to say who is Russian, who is Ukrainian, and those people actually live and work near each other. This is the Oldtown square, the most important and famous square of Prague and even probably Czech Republic. Once you see it, you always remember it. It's very beautiful. There is always some fair going on at this Oldtown square. You can buy sausage, drink, hot chocolate. It's cool.
Whoa, looks so good. Oh yeah, very good. Very big sausage, yeah.
I'm gonna get a Starbucks for the walk.
Around Prague, you can always see the sweet stores. This one is called Captain Ahoy, and we just couldn't pass by because that looks so cool.
Kids are very happy. So much candy.
Walking in the Prague's Old Town, and I must say nothing changed much. There are still a lot of souvenirs, a lot of cool street food like Trdelnik, and a lot of little brewery places.
This is Pivovar Trdlo. It's a medieval beer house, and we had our engagement party here, and it was great. All the guests, they have really nice old Czech food, and they have old Czech beers that they make here.
When in Prague, you cannot skip the Charles Bridge, also another great sightseeing in Prague, and still a lot of international speech here. When I visited Europe after 5 years living in America, I realized again how different is European lifestyle from American. Cities are just built in a different way. Everything is very close, schools, grocery stores, you can walk around the city. The transport system is very developed. You can use a metro or you can hop on a tram. Everything is very close. It's very different from American lifestyle where you are very much dependent on car, especially in such cities like LA, and everything is kind of organized in clusters. At least in the place where we are right now in LA, here it's very different. Everything is interconnected and also a lot of culture. It was Easter weekend yesterday in Prague, and I noticed that many cathedrals were giving away leaflets, brochures about the concerts of classical music coming up, so you can easily get a concert ticket, and it's very affordable for anyone. I'd like to show you this very special place for me in Prague. This is Mandarin Oriental Hotel, where our wedding with Peter took place in 2014. The hotel is very elegant. It has a beautiful internal courtyard where we had a ceremony, the flower arch. That was amazing. Normally it's a little bit warmer, and at this period you will see people sitting outside sipping coffee. It's overall a very elegant, beautiful, charming hotel, a 5-star hotel. So for anyone who wants to stay in Prague, this is a wonderful option. Everyone in Prague should visit the Prague Castle. This is amazing and the largest in the world castle complex, which is under the protection of UNESCO. Amazingly beautiful. It was super hard to see it on the first day. Kids had to do a lot of steps because the castle is kind of on the hill, but we made it. Kids were unfortunately tired to make it inside, but at least they got an idea of how the castle looks outside, and check it out. This is amazing.
Czech tram.
Exit here for Prague Castle.
Now let me walk you around this beautiful little street, Voitesska. My God, it was always so hard to pronounce this name. Try it out, Voitesska. Anyway, we lived for a couple years on this street in this pink building on the very top floor. Just a little cute Prague street. It was always nice living here, feeling like a local almost. You can see it's very quiet, very nice. It's always nice to come to the city where you used to live because you still have some friends there, and this time my kids could see the kids of my friend Dinara. They had a good time together. And my friend Dinara, she's still one of the best dressed people in Prague. She's stunning. Another thing which you should try in Prague is called Trdelnik. Again, good luck pronouncing this word. This is kind of a dough on the fire, and sometimes they put ice cream inside this, and this becomes like a sweet bomb. This is like such a great dessert. When I lived in Prague before, they just were selling this dough from the fire, which already tasted great. But once they decided to add some ice cream inside, it became double delicious. Everyone should try it. In Prague, we also met with Alona, our previous nanny from Czech Republic. Alona speaks very well Czech language, Russian language, and English language. Alona said it was a hard year for Czech Republic. Czech Republic accepted a lot of Ukrainian refugees, and it influenced the life of every Czech person directly. Life overall in Czech Republic became much more expensive. Official data of inflation is around 16%, but unofficially probably around 20%. Grocery prices, services prices, prices for gas and electricity considerably went up. Lately, people kind of got used to this situation, but still everybody expects the return to kind of a normal life which used to exist. The average salary in Prague is around $1,800, and all last year, Czechs paid the highest prices in Europe for gas and the second highest prices for electricity after Romania.
How is it, guys?
Как у вас второй день?
We saw Willem Dafoe. How cool is that?
Yes, we did meet Willem Dafoe in Prague, where he is doing right now Nosferatu movie. So we had a little chat, and it was just unbelievable. Now we will show you the very nice hidden garden, which is called Frantsiskanska zahrada. It's really tucked in between buildings in Prague. It's so beautiful, especially a bit later when the roses will start to blossom. It's beautiful. Now we're walking along the Vltava river. This is literally the place where we used to live. Our street would be to the right, just parallel to the embankment. And this was always the streets where I used to walk with a stroller with my first son. It was always very picturesque, fresh near the water, and I always enjoyed it. We are now on an island where you can see this beautiful palace Zofin. One of the interesting things in Prague that you can actually organize a marriage in one of such palaces. We actually checked out this palace for our wedding, but the date was already taken, so we couldn't do it here, but the whole inside is beautiful. This is the example of how kids' playgrounds can look in Prague. They're a bit different. Sometimes there are a lot of kind of wooden structures, so they're kind of close to nature. And very interesting, just a little different style. Also, another thing about this playground on an island is that it's really on the water, so there is a lot of fresh air. It was cool to see so many moms and people with strollers, not only on the playgrounds, but just everywhere in the city. And I kind of forgot after living in the US how walkable the cities can be. You know, how you can just move around the city very easily with the strollers because of the streets and because of the public transportation. This was cool. Another cool island which I would like to show you, just because I have lived here and I've known so many cool places, and sometimes it's hard to find these cool places for tourists. So this is Streletsky Island, another island on which you can actually go by elevator from one of the Prague bridges. So let's check it out. I kind of always like the view on the Prague and the Vltava river exactly from this island. I think this is the best. If you plan to visit Prague with kids, you might pop in this Lego museum, which is situated on Narodny Street. This is a very good compact museum with a lot of different buildings and construction from Lego. It gives you an idea how much time it took to build this or that monument. It's very cool, a lot of fun for kids. Even though the level of living was in Prague always kind of lower than in Western Europe, I always liked the fact that I could have here the full lunch for less than $10 in the good times, but also there are this amazing restaurant with the degustation menu, that like this restaurant Mlynets, where you can celebrate special occasions, and which is like a high cuisine.
That's not even a big meal.
So beautiful. No, that's
Often it's
more than enough.
At the nice restaurant, they give you not that much.
Wow.
Ocean. Oh! Wow!
Wow.
The potion.
That's awesome. Thank you. Of course, everything cannot be perfect, and on this trip I was suffering from a serious jet lag because of 10 hours difference, but at least early mornings I could enjoy my beautiful rooms and bath in this hotel, the Julius Prague, where we stayed the first time. So this morning we decided to try some French pastry for breakfast, and we came to this little place, Paul. It's a chain in Prague, which is very nice. I noted that it's very popular. Around 9 a.m. people were just coming in one after another. So for everything on this table, including maybe 5-6 pastries, 2 coffees, 2 chia puddings, and 2 orange juices, we spent around $50. So the prices definitely went up in Prague, even though it's still cheaper than in California. For instance, here you can get croissant and coffee for around $7, which is not bad. It's raining again, but Sophia likes to walk with umbrella, and she actually says, I want to move to Prague because I like to wear a hat and the coat and the jacket, and it's very strange, but kids actually like very different weather, including snow and rain. We're checking out new cafe which is called Crystal Gardens for another breakfast, and this is so cute, so I really wanted to put it into my video because who knows, maybe you might try it next time while you're here in Prague. You probably got the idea that we love Prague and we actually would like to come back and live here again. So we got an idea, why won't we look at some private international schools to see what it looks like if at some point we would return here. So this was one of the schools situated really in some kind of almost like a village with wild dogs. This is how the campus looked from outside. Actually, it was very big and had very good sport facilities. So I must say, one thing we understood, the level of education is very good. So that was the end of our trip in Prague. This is how airport looks around 6 a.m. and we are very grateful for this visit. We absolutely liked it. It was great. Thank you, Prague. Let's move to Vienna.
Welcome to Vienna. We're in lovely Vienna. In the airport terminal because they don't bring our bags, so it's great. But in Prague, we got our bags right away.
So here we are in the center of Vienna. You can see this magnificent Stephan's Cathedral, which is super famous. This is the heart of Vienna. And it will be very hard to film here because we have the forecast for like 4 days of complete rain from the morning till late at night. But the benefit of that is that I have a chance to show you the best Viennese cafes in the town, which are absolutely magnificent, where you can try the strudel, the famous pastry, the very good Viennese sausages, and everything is super fresh. This is our first dinner in Vienna, famous Viennese schnitzel, potato salad. We also ordered grilled vegetables. My son is eating actually a burger with schnitzel inside, and Sophia is eating pasta. And this is in restaurant Lugeck. After the dinner, we were actually lucky to go through the street where we could see the real-time schnitzel making through the window of another restaurant. So you can see how, they put the very thin piece of veal in the special mix and then crumbs. They use a lot of that like crumbs, and then you see the big mountain of schnitzels is here ready already and waiting for its turn to go on a frying pan, which we'll just show in a second. The process itself was really great. And now you see the men starting to fry that nice schnitzel on a frying pan. They're really enjoying this job, and we thought it just looked great to see it in real time. So because it was seriously raining, we had to benefit from a wonderful food, and we did. So this is our second breakfast in the cafe Mozart, another fantastic, very elegant cafe where we ordered some Viennese breakfast. Check out this atmosphere, how beautiful it is. The brioches are fresh, they serve very good Austrian butter, some nice jam. The waiter looks so elegant and so positive, and we're sitting just opposite the very famous museum Albertina. So no luck with the weather here, but we decided to check out some museums, which are plenty in Vienna, and we saw the Museum of Music where kids could actually conduct the orchestra. This evening evening we are going to a concert in Mozart Haus in the center of Vienna, and I was looking at the people while walking around the streets to get some inspiration. And one conclusion I made is that people in Vienna are very well dressed. There were a lot of elegant coats and jackets. There is definitely that spring-autumn fashion which doesn't exist in California. And overall, yeah, people are definitely better dressed than in Prague. There is some certain taste and elegance which just exist in this city. This is what I called life. If I lived in Vienna, I would go to concert of classical music from time to time, and then I would pass to one of these beautiful cafes, like this cafe museum, to have a little cup of coffee with zahir cake or maybe Princess Sisi cake. I was actually nicely surprised that in most Viennese cafes, this traditional Viennese breakfast costs just €7.50. Check this out. Fresh brioche, additional bread, jam, butter, just one egg. This cheese I added additionally, so this would cost something extra, but overall, this is a very plentiful big breakfast. In Vienna, we decided to set the first time art gallery with kids. Well, I must say with the 5-year-old, that wasn't the best experience ever. Sophia was suffering, crying, complaining. She didn't want to see it. But overall, the collection is actually very, very good with older and modern artists. And I hope we will see this place again when kids are older. This trip to Vienna ended with a historical meeting with my cousin Alona. I actually have two cousins from Ukraine, Alona and Ole, and because of the war, two of my cousins had to leave Ukraine, and Austria became a temporary house for one of my sisters. Overall, Austria is very helpful to Ukrainians as well as Czech Republic, but just does it in a more neutral status. I'm thanking universe for this great opportunity to see part of my family, my relatives, to communicate together. The more relatives in between Russia and Ukraine would be able to stay connected, the better for all of us. Overall, it's a very complicated life. It's very complicated for kids to study right now in both Ukrainian and Austrian school at the same time. Everybody needs to get used to the new mentality and to live this new life. And the biggest desire of my relatives is for sure to come back to their own country at some point.